The UFO cover-up or truth embargo, call it what you will, orchestrated by the US government, can be likened to a bunch of bullies that want to ensure that their will supersedes the will of the masses, the will of the people. Let's call them transparency bullies. Has their bullying to keep us all distant from the truth actually made this world a better place? I'd argue the answer is unequivocally no. You don't make the world a better place by lying to the world. You don't make the world a better place by diminishing public trust in your governmental institution. You also don't make the world a better place by making a mockery of a democracy. And so, 70 plus years later, the reason we have the UFO legislation we currently do with whistleblower protections is because bad policies cannot persist indefinitely. They can last a long time, a very long time. But in the words of Bob Marley, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And to me, the whistleblowers that have come forward so far and will continue to do so, as well as the future UFO hearings that will unfold, is a manifestation of a policy that's run its course and is on its last legs. Unless I'm wrong about this entire topic of interest, which is entirely possible. Though I'm betting strongly that I'm on the right track, and the way things are unfolding it sure looks that way to me. And I'm proud to push for UFO transparency because I think it's an incredibly important cause. We all deserve to know the truth of our cosmos before we depart from this world. Seems reasonable to me. On April 20th, the Roswell Daily Record published an article titled, "Senate Hearing on UAP Sparks Concern for Whistleblowers." According to the article, the Roswell Daily Record has learned from several sources familiar with the matter, but not authorized to discuss it publicly, that the Arrow is asking whistleblowers to pay for their own travel and accommodations in order to provide testimony in Washington, D.C. In addition, at least one witness testimony was taken over the phone from an unsecured location, even though the whistleblower was bound to a non-disclosure agreement. As a result, at present, any whistleblower possessing information about possible UAP programs that are being kept clandestine from congressional scrutiny, who wishes to utilize the Arrow's fresh mechanism is unable to do so. Two of the individuals that spoke with the Roswell Daily Record on condition of anonymity indicated that they believe their testimony is not being followed up on. Interestingly, according to the article, personnel at U.S. Space Command have also shown interest in meeting with these witnesses. As has been discussed before, Senator Mark Warner and Senator Marco Rubio recently sent a letter to Secretary Lloyd Austin and DNI Avril Haines, expressing concerns about various aspects of the 2022-2023 NDAA not being implemented yet. One of them was, and I quote, "The Fiscal year 23 NDAA also directed Arrow to stand up a secure public-facing website or communication mechanism to outline the secure process for witnesses to come forward with relevant information. To date, we have seen no efforts to communicate the existence of the secure process to the public. We request you provide us an update on the plan to publicize the secure process for witnesses to come forward." On May 1st, 2023, Matt Ford of The Good Trouble Show interviewed Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and they discussed UAP. I believe that Matt said that, as far as he knows, this was the first time a sitting member of Congress has ever been interviewed on the topic of UAP. He, in this following clip, asks her what led her to get involved in this topic. And it relates to bullying, but we'll discuss that after the clip.
So, Senator, what was your turning point when you decided that we as a nation, that we have to take these reports seriously and look into them?
Well, it was a combination of things. The thing that really got me highly concerned was when service members had come forward with digital evidence, whether it was video or radar or different sensory data, that they were retaliated against or disregarded or somehow diminished or demeaned in their roles. And I thought, as chair of personnel at the time, at the personnel subcommittee of the Armed Services Committee, I was not going to tolerate our service members being in any way disparaged because they were doing their jobs to report these sightings. And so once I heard about that, I started getting much more detailed in my review of what is the scope of these unidentified aerial phenomena.
What has this cover-up done to humanity? What has it done to the Republic? What has it done to military personnel? We have been bullied for 70 plus years, in my opinion, by transparency bullies, by unelected officials who do not want us to have this conversation. And this commitment to this policy and worldview has led to untold devastations and negative impacts upon Homo sapiens. You can look into the annals of UFO history, and there's endless stories of military personnel being threatened, being told, you did not see this, you were not here, this didn't happen, based upon the witnessing of something that I consider a part of our nature. This bullying from transparency bullies has gone on long enough. It has led to constant and persistent gaslighting. And I feel like we're all gaslit. I feel like UFO believers are gaslit. I feel like UFO experiencers are gaslit. I feel like UFO debunkers and skeptics and pseudo-skeptics are also gaslit. We are living in an artificial environment predicated on a very limited amount of people with access to high fidelity data that do not want to have this conversation. They want this reality to be insulated within small compartments of the U.S. government and contractors working on behalf of the U.S. government. And what universe is that even remotely sane?
Either they saw something anomalous or they have a mental health problem. So we shouldn't ignore them. Mm-hmm. But these people are otherwise sane by all measures. So we have to have a way of dealing with it, and we can't just keep telling people that they're wrong. And so that to me is what bothers me about let's say the military's stance on this, is that if there's something so dangerous there that we shouldn't know about it, then maybe the danger is not that we don't know about it. The danger is that you're actually telling people that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. What's more damaging to society? Telling people that they've seen something, otherwise productive members of society, and making them, unsure about it, or hiding some grand secret.
The bullying must end. Truth is sacred. Truth is freedom. The whistleblowers that are coming forward right now and will continue to come forward, who have been inspired by the beckoning of the United States Congress, are a crucial component of the resistance that has only just begun.
So finally, should there be legal amnesty for past or present government employees or contractors who have been involved in keeping this from Congress and the American public, sort of as an incentive for these people to come forward?
That's what the whistleblower language in the 23 NDAA is supposed to protect. But if that language isn't sufficient, these people just have to tell us what part's not sufficient and what they would need in the defense whistleblower protection to cover them. We're happy to amend the bill this year. I mean, the goal is to give 100% amnesty and whistleblower protection in this space of unidentified aerial phenomena.
The house of cards is falling, baby. The fact that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is willing to amend the legislation so that whistleblowers will feel protected and safe to come forward is quite remarkable and really underscores the level of commitment members of Congress have to getting to the bottom of what the U.S. government actually knows about UAP reality. And in the following clip, Matt Ford asks Senator Gillibrand what she's doing for those that fear retaliation, because he's heard that some whistleblowers that have not come forward, or potential whistleblowers, we should say, do fear retaliation.
Now, sources have claimed to us that they still fear retaliation. Do these claims surprise you at all?
No, and our office is here to assure them they cannot be retaliated against by law. And if they still fear retaliation, they should reach out to my office, because we can make sure that they get interviewed by Dr. Kirkpatrick. We can make sure that they can submit any of their data or information in a confidential way. We can do everything possible to make sure that they can be heard and protected at the same time.
Senator Gillibrand is actually requesting that whistleblowers go directly to her office if they fear reprisals. They have the mechanisms to ensure safe transfer of information, such as utilizing SCIFs, which are compartments that people go in to discuss classified content, so that it's insulated from any surveillance systems. So that, in addition to being willing to change the legislation or amend the legislation, she's also like, look, if you want to come directly to me, that's also viable. So she's very serious. The Congress is very serious. This is not coming out of a vacuum. I'm very confident of that. There's reasons the Congress is going in this direction with so much commitment, and it's not because there's a bunch of UFO fans within the United States Congress, but some self-proclaimed skeptics believe that. Well, we'll see how that pans out. We'll see if that hypothesis holds any truth to it. But anyways, on May 3rd, Witness Citizen had journalist Ross Coulthart on his show. And Ross Coulthart goes into some of the obstacles for whistleblowers.
I know there are whistleblower witnesses who have gone directly to the Congress and circumvented Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick's office because they don't trust Dr. Kirkpatrick. Because what he has done by saying what he said publicly to the Congress is apprehended bias. He's indicated an unwillingness to take the issue seriously. I think he should really be questioning whether he should stay on the job or not. The bottom line is there are a lot of senators and congressional representatives who have heard differently inside secure SCIFs in the Congress from what Dr. Kirkpatrick is representing to the Congress in public hearing. Congress has heard evidence from witnesses about the program, about aliens.
I believe what journalist Ross Coulthart is referencing is when, during the UFO hearing, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick explicitly stated something to the effect of, there's no evidence that any of these UAP are stemming from extraterrestrials or that they are defying our known physics. And just imagine that, just imagine hearing him saying that, but you are working in a USAP, unacknowledged special access program, with potentially, I mean, this is hypothetical, I don't know if this is true, but like hypothetically, you're working for a USAP, you're working on recovered materials or even fully intact craft that do not originate from humankind, and you want to take this knowledge to the Congress so that there's proper oversight, but yet you see during the most recent hearing, the head of AARO say there's no evidence for it. I can see how that could turn off some whistleblowers. Maybe because they perceive that he's not being honest. He must have more information. And if he has more information and he's still saying that, it's like maybe he doesn't want to receive whistleblower testimony. I'm not even saying I necessarily agree with that logic, but people have said that that is a possibility, and if journalist Ross Koldar is correct, then it appears that has turned off some potential whistleblowers from going to Sean Kirkpatrick, and that they've circumvented him to talk directly to the United States Congress. So on May 2nd, investigative filmmaker James Fox went on the YouTube channel Breaking Points to discuss his recent film, but also what's happening in Washington, D.C. with whistleblowers and so forth. And Breaking Points has done a lot of great coverage on the UFO issue, and I'll definitely leave a link below to this wonderful segment with James Fox because it really was informative. But in this clip, he goes into the situation with whistleblowers, and I'll do some commentary after.
However, what I'm doing and what many others are doing, we're meeting with the intel folks on the inside that have already gone to testify to AARO, which is run by Sean Kirkpatrick. That's the new UAP task force. And they're going on camera with people like myself. And I've gotten a number of them on camera already. And they're disclosing not the classified parts, but what they've disclosed basically behind closed doors. In other words, I'm providing the names of the programs. I'm providing the names of the individuals involved with the programs, the locations of these programs. And in fact, if you get me the classifications, I can walk you in the door. So the clearances. So if the government is not going to release it, we're going to release this to the public so they'll know that this is going on. So we're just trying to force the government hand.
What happens when all of a sudden those that were bullied for so very long metaphorically strike back? Well, this is what happens. Whistleblowers come forward. Investigative filmmakers like James Fox get insiders on camera to reveal the reality of the situation and promise to release that video if the U.S. government doesn't fulfill its obligation to be transparent on this topic. That's what happens when you're bullied for enough time. It can never go in one direction indefinitely. The human spirit will inevitably push back when such injustices have persisted for so long, particularly when they're unreasonable. And I believe this truth embargo is well past a perception of reasonability. It's well past that. And the roosters have come home to roost, or whatever that expression is. And that's what we're seeing right now. Now, just in case it wasn't clear, from my understanding, what James Fox was conveying is that the insiders that have come forward to testify to the AARO office, when they went on camera with James Fox, they weren't revealing anything classified, but more like a generalization of what they told AARO. So instead of saying the names of the programs specifically, they would be like, well, we gave AARO the names of the programs. Instead of giving the individual names of those involved on camera with James Fox, they just said, no, we gave them the individuals' names, but we can't reveal those names on camera, locations of those programs, etc. And anyone who has the required clearances will take you directly to these facilities, and you can see for yourself what we've been working on. So this is a method to bypass the government's intransigence on this issue if indeed they're going to continue stonewalling transparency on this enigma. So let's end this video with some intelligence on the upcoming UFO hearing. I don't know the accuracy of this, but someone has been pretty reliable, or very reliable, in getting accurate information by calling various members of Congress. This is what he wrote on May 16th. House Oversight Committee hearing. Just got off the call with staffer from Representative Luna office. The hearing is getting close. He meant close, not closed. Likely this month or next month. More info will be out next week. The whole hearing will be public, and video and photos will be represented along with pilot testimony. And then in another tweet, he writes, why you should look forward to the upcoming House Oversight Committee UAP hearing. 1, pilot testimony. 2, no DOD agents. 3, the whole hearing will be open, no closed section. This will be the most clear and transparent UFO hearing in history, UFO Twitter. I'm really excited. I perceive that the cosmic rubber is hitting the road. And the real test is coming before us all on what the U.S. government really knows about UAP. Is it true that they have had for many decades high fidelity data proving the existence of unknown technologies that exceed all known technologies and have insulated from the world? That's what many quote unquote UFO believers perceive as true, and now this is really coming to the test. But not just for quote unquote UFO believers, but quote unquote UFO skeptics who say that there's next to zero chance this is the case. So ultimately, people's hypotheses are getting tested. And I'm very excited for that. Because at the root, I just want to know the truth. Will I be disappointed if I'm wrong? I'm sure I will to some extent. I'm a human being with an ego, and it's also kind of a more interesting world if this reality actually exists. But ultimately, the most important thing is getting to the truth, because only with truth is there justice and freedom. But anyways, in that excitement and joy of whistleblowers coming forward, UFO legislation, and whispers of people from the government coming forward to set the record straight on this topic sometime within this year, I'm going to play the disclosure flute to help usher in a post-disclosure world because, well, that's what I do. Please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You can become a patron, you can become a YouTube member, you can give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities are in the description below, and that really does keep the channel afloat. So thank you to all my patrons, YouTube members, people who've given me one-time donations, and people who watch all my videos. Thank you so much. I couldn't do without you. This is a very committed operation. But of course, if all you can do is, all in quotes because I appreciate it so much, give this video a thumbs up. I will appreciate it so very much. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.